Hello everyone, Mr. McDonald here. I just want to take a moment to talk you through how home learning is going to be in the next 3 weeks between now and the Easter holidays. Teachers have been challenged to provide live classroom lessons to reduce numbers of pupils, provide online materials for those learning from home, provide availability for working in the hub to make sure the children of key workers are supported, and to cover any staff illnesses that may occur between now and the Easter holidays. That's a big task, and the only way I could think of effectively covering all those duties was to create these online YouTube lessons. These lessons will talk you through what you need to know to complete the lesson tasks and hopefully provide you with about 2 hours of working materials that you can cover to make sure that you continue to develop through your maths. I will be hopefully providing online chat to support and guide you through these materials as well. But as I say, there's lots of different things that I could be pulled away to provide support with. So that may not always happen. I'm hoping that it will, and I'm hoping that our lessons will progress pretty much as they have been before. But if I am pulled away for any reason, you still have these online lessons that you can work through and make sure that you're progressing in your maths, because that is the most important thing during this period. Thanks very much for your patience, everybody. And without further ado, let's get into today's lesson. So let's start today's lesson off with a starter. We're going to look at these 3 questions here. In each, you're given a distance and a speed, or a distance and a time, or a speed and a time. And you have to figure out the third of the 3 variables. Okay, have a little look at the distance, speed, time triangle at the bottom of the screen, and then see if you can complete the 3 calculations to figure out what goes in the place of the question mark in each one. If you don't want to see the answers yet, pause the video now and I'll go on to the answers in just a couple of seconds. Okay, so looking at these 3 calculations here, I'm going to rearrange this slightly so that we can see all 3 calculations, and then we'll focus in on each one in turn. Alright, so for this first one here, we have a distance and we have a speed. We are looking for a time. So you can see that in this distance, speed, time triangle, that the formula for time is distance divided by speed. So I'm going to write that down. Time equals distance divided by speed. Now remember, with a fraction like that, the line means divide. So don't get confused. Even though I'm not using the division sign with the 2 dots and the line, it does still mean divide. Okay, the second part of this is I'm going to put in the information that I have in the 3 lines of text. I know that my distance is 84, and I know that my speed is 28 kilometers per hour. Okay, to finish this off, I'm going to do 84 divided by 28, and I get 3. Because my speed is in kilometers per hour, I know that my answer for time has to end in hours. So 3 hours is my final answer there. Okay, if you need to copy that down, pause the video, but I'm going to move on to question number 2. For question number 2, I have a speed missing this time. So I know that speed, looking here in my speed, distance, time triangles, is equal to distance divided by time. So again, I'll write that down. Speed equals d over t, distance divided by time. Okay, in this case, again, I'm going to put in the information that I know. So speed is equal to 111 divided by 3. If I perform that calculation on my calculator, I'm going to get 37. And because my distance is in miles, my time is in hours, my speed is going to be in miles per hour. Okay, remember the speed variable is a mixture between the distance, miles, and the time, hours, so miles per hour. Okay, again, if you want to copy that down, pause the screen here. I'm going to move on to question 3 for our final question. Okay, moving on to question number 3. I don't have a variable for, or I don't have a value for my distance this time. So I'm using the distance formula, which is equal to speed times time. Distance equals speed times time, S times T. Okay, filling in the information I know, my speed is 45, so instead of S, I'll write 45. And my time is 7. Okay, 45 times by 7 is 315. Because my speed is in kilometers per hour, my distance is in kilometers. Okay, again, if you need some time to copy that down, pause the video. However, I'm going to move on to our learning intentions for today. Our learning intentions for today, we have a new topic that we're going to be learning. Our learning intentions are to be able to work out the volume of a cuboid using the correct formula, and to be able to work out missing sides of a cuboid if you know the volume. Hopefully by the end of the lesson you should be able to say, I can find the volume of a cuboid or composite cuboids, and I can find a missing side of a cuboid if I know what the volume is. Okay, so something you might already know as part of our work with areas and perimeters is that areas are measured in centimeters or meters or millimeters squared. And the reason for that is because a 2D shape has both a breadth as in distance from left to right, and a length, a distance up and down. Okay, however, what we're going to be looking at today is 3D shapes. 3D shapes have 3 different dimensions. Okay, those are, if I can find my line tool, there it is. The same as the 2D shapes, so we've got our breadth here. We've got our length here. And we have our height. Okay, so now 3 different directions that we are pulling in for our 3D shapes in order to find the volume. And that means that when we are measuring our cuboid volumes, we are measuring them in centimeters cubed, millimeters cubed, or meters cubed. Okay, we put a little 3 at the top right hand corner of our units to show that we're measuring a 3D shape and volume is measured in 3 dimensions. Okay, the formula for finding the volume of a cuboid is this. Volume is equal to length times breadth times height. Whatever your distance from front to back, whatever your distance from side to side, whatever your distance up and down is, you multiply those 3 things together and you get the volume of the cuboid. Take a wee second to pause this video and copy that down into your notes just so you have a record of the formula for finding the volume of a cuboid. Okay, so having a go at some examples of this. First thing I'm going to do when I'm completing an example to find the volume of a cuboid is I'm going to write down my formula. So V equals L times B times H. Length times breadth times height. The second step I'm going to take is I'm going to take my numbers for the length, the breadth, and the height, and I'm going to substitute them into my equation here. So my length is 10, my breadth is 4, and my height is 5. Now actually it doesn't matter what order you put these numbers in. As much as you have to have a length, a breadth, and a height value in your formula, if I had muddled those up in any order, so if I'd done 4 times 10 times 5, or 5 times 10 times 4, or 5 times 4 times 10, it doesn't matter. You always get the same answer because multiplying 2 numbers in a particular order, if you switch that order around, you still get the same answer. Okay, so to finish this off, 10 times 4 is 40, 40 times 5 is going to be 200. Okay, obviously you can use a calculator to help you out with your calculations here. And the last thing I need to remember is that 10 times 4 times 5 is 200, and I'm going to put centimeters because my cuboid is measured in centimeters, but I also have to put that little 3 at the top corner to show that it is measured in centimeters cubed, okay, because I'm dealing with a 3D shape and I'm looking for 3D volume. Make sure you copy that example into your jotter. I'm going to do one more example in just a second, but make sure you pause the screen while you get this down in your jotter. Okay, one more quick example with slightly harder numbers. Again, I'm going to write down volume equals length times breadth times height. I'm going to substitute the numbers from my diagram into my calculation. So for me, I think the length is 35. The breadth is 13. And the height is 22. But like I say, if you muddle those numbers up, that doesn't make any difference. As long as you get all 3 numbers multiplied together, you're not going to have any problem with the final answer. Okay, so just typing into my calculator now, 35 times 13 times 22, and you get a final answer of 10,010. Okay, again my answer is in centimeters, and again I need that cubed sign up at the top to show that I'm dealing with the 3D shape and volume is 3-dimensional. Okay, again, copy that into your jotter. Make sure that you've got that to look back at. And I'm going to move on in just a second, so if you need more time, pause the screen now. Okay, so here are 4 examples for you to try out quickly. Pause the screen here, complete these 4 examples, and then in just a second I'll move on and show you the answers. Okay, so the answers for those questions. Number 1, the orange cuboid is 192 centimeters cubed. Number 2, the turquoise cuboid is 120 centimeters cubed. Number 3, the green cuboid is 600 centimeters cubed. And number 4, the pink cuboid is 15 centimeters cubed in the end. Make sure you check that you got the cubed sign on all of your answers and that you should have 3 lines of working for each of these. Okay, now it's time to do activity 1, which is a little exercise on finding the volume of cuboids, some real life examples as well, and that should take you probably about half an hour. Okay, make sure you've got a calculator to help you out with these calculations. Pause the video now, and I'm going to move on to the next activity that you should be ready to start in about half an hour's time. Okay, so we're going to move on to working out missing sides of a cuboid when you know the volume of the cuboid. Right, you can see here I've got 2 sides of information in my cuboid. I know that this side from left to right is 9 centimeters and the side from front to back is 5 centimeters. However, I don't know what my third dimension is. Okay, I've been told that this is x centimeters, and x is just standing for a number that we don't know yet. The other piece of information we've been given is that the volume of this cuboid is 315 centimeters squared for some reason. I've made a mistake. So I'm going to correct that just now by changing that squared into a cubed because it's a 3D shape. Something that I've been talking about throughout the lesson. Same with this one down here actually. Okay, so what we need to do in order to solve this, first of all, I'm going to write down volume equals length times breadth times height. Secondly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the information that I know. So V for volume, I already know the volume. I'm going to put 315 in that position there. I know what the length is. It's 9. I know what the breadth is. It's 5. And I don't know what the height is. It's been given to me as x, so I'm going to put the value x in there to hold the place just now. What I need to do to carry this calculation on is I need to figure out what 9 times 5 is. Okay, so that's something you can do on a calculator, or if your mental math skills are good, you'll have 9 times 5 in your memory bank. So we're going to say 315, which is the same as before, is equal to 9 times 5 is 45, so I'm going to put that in, and times that by x, you get 45x. Okay, the last little bit of this question is, if I know what 45 of these missing sides are, then if I divide that by 45, I'll know what that one missing side is. Okay, so a little bit of algebra just to finish off. Again, you should be using a calculator, so doing something like dividing by 45 shouldn't intimidate anyone. You get a final answer of 7 is equal to x. So what you can say is, just spinning that around a wee bit, x is equal to 7 centimeters. All I've done is I've taken that last line, 7 equals x, and I've turned it around so that 7's on the right hand side, and I can put centimeters on there. So it looks like our normal final answer is x equals something. Okay, again, copy that down into your jotters. Make sure that you've got reference so you can look back and complete these exercises without having too much trouble. I'm going to move on to the next example in a second. So make sure you pause the video if you're still copying down now. Okay, for the second example, again, I'm going to write down volume equals length times breadth times height. I know what the volume is. I've been told what the volume is in this diagram. So I'm going to write down 5760 for my volume. I know my length is x. Times it by 12 is the breadth. Times it by 16 is the height. Okay, so that's all the information that's in the diagram. Again, if I muddle these up in any way, it's not going to be a problem as long as you have all three pieces of information that's on your cuboid. You shouldn't go wrong. The next line, I'm going to deal with the calculation that's on the same side of the equation as x. Okay, the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do 12 times 16. So 12 times 16 is 192. Okay, so 12 times 16 times x is going to be 192 with an x on the end. Then, just like we did in the previous example, we're going to divide by the number of x's that we have, divide by 192. Okay, and our final answer, 5760 divided by 192 gives us 30. So we get 30 equals x, or to spin it around the right way, x equals 30 centimeters. Okay, and that's how you find a missing side of a cuboid if you already know what the volume is. Find out what two of the sides multiplied together are, then divide that into the total volume. That will give you what x is as a number. Okay, here are 4 examples for you to try. In each case, you have two of the sides of the cuboid and the volume of the cuboid. See if you can find out what the third one is. Pause this video now, because I'm going to move on to the answers in just a second. Okay, so the answers to this exercise. For the first one, the orange cuboid, we have x is equal to 7 centimeters. For the turquoise cuboid, x is equal to 4 centimeters. For the green cuboid, x is equal to 20 centimeters. And for the pink cuboid, x is equal to 10 centimeters. Alright, we're going to finish off today's lesson with activity number 2. This is a quick exercise to give you a few more practices at finding a missing side of a cuboid. If you need any help, remember that I am in the chat and you can rewatch this video as many times as you need. Okay, if you can't reach me through chat, make sure that you send me an email. My email is always at the top of your Teams chat bar. Okay, hope to see you very soon and thanks very much for watching. Bye folks.